Hi, and welcome to today's class of Vedic astrology. So, today we are continuing with uh, you can say, the topic of Nakshatras, and we will be learning about something more related to Nakshatras. Now let's understand elements. So I believe if I have not covered about the topic of element means there are basically four elements or five elements. But if you want to see house wise, sign wise, there are always like four elements, that is fire, earth, air, water. And this particular sequence, it continues: fire, earth, air, water, fire, earth, air, water, fire, earth, air, water. So the sign of Aries, suppose again you take a Kalpurush, suppose Kundli, start with the sign of Aries. Aries has fire sign. The next particular Rashi or the next particular sign is Taurus. Taurus is earth sign. The next particular sign is Gemini. Gemini is air sign. And the next particular sign is Cancer. Cancer is water sign. So it is fire, earth, air, water. Similarly, again, the next four. Next Rashi is Leo. Leo is fire sign. The next particular Rashi is Virgo. Virgo is earth sign. The next particular Rashi is Libra. Libra is air sign. And the next particular Rashi is Scorpio. Scorpio is water sign. All right. Again, the sequence will continue. The next particular Rashi is Sagittarius. Sagittarius is fire sign. All right. The next Rashi is Capricorn. Capricorn is earth sign. The next particular Rashi is Aquarius. Aquarius is air sign. And the next particular Rashi is Pisces. And Pisces is water sign. All right. So every sign has a particular element attached to it. But a human is influenced by five elements. What is that another element? That is space. In Nakshatra, we will be able to understand that. All right. So if I want to, a lot of people has told me that how we will understand about the nature of an individual from an individual's birth chart. That can be understood. But what I feel, why we need to understand that? Why do we need to tell other people from his horoscope, this is your nature? Don't you think that individual is coming to me, he or she knows what his or her nature is? So this is a very, I think, impractical way even to understand what will be the nature of the person. I don't need to understand the nature until and unless I need it for a particular purpose. In order for counseling purposes, for guidance purposes, if I understand, yes, this will be the nature, that I normally find out during pre-consultation whenever I have a particular birth detail and I do my homework, whatever things I need to find out, whatever things I think I have to tell that individual as guidance, recommendation, whatever it needs to be told. From there, I get an idea about this can be or this will be the nature of the particular individual. But I don't tell it to that other person, okay, this is your nature. I don't think it is required. That is, it's not required, because the other person, even if he or she asks, right, some people they ask as astrologers, can you tell me the nature of me? I think, why you want me to tell you the nature of yourself? Don't you think the nature? Don't you know the nature? What is your nature? Or I ask it more specifically, do you think the nature of yours is currently disturbing your own self? It's hampering other people. And this particular question is usually asked when the nature of an individual is somewhat problematic or the person is feeling some problems with their current attitude. And that is again, it again depends on a lot of planets. It's not because of a single planet. All right. Situational circumstance is there, environmental circumstance is there, which causes a particular person to behave in a certain way. All right. Sometimes the nature of a particular person gets a kind of manipulated because of many external XYZ factors. Because of that, an individual might face problem. It's not because innate his nature is bad or his nature is good. I hope you're trying to, I hope you are understanding what I am trying to say. So that is the reason why I don't talk about nature, because nature is a very abstract word. In order to be specific exactly what an individual is asking, then his question needs to be understood and appreciated, because I am not a mind reader, all right? I don't know what that individual is thinking. If in case he or she has some specific questions in his or her mind that he or she wants me to ask, so that specific questions I enable or I encourage that individual to ask, so that I can find the answer specifically instead of answering an abstract question. That is not relevant or that is not required. Okay, so one more thing also I have seen is many people, they come to a conclusion based on the lagna, all right, or based on the zodiac sign, the sun sign, or based on the moon sign, or even based on nakshatra. Okay, this is the nakshatra or this is the ascendant of that individual. That means based on the ascendant, this will be the nature. It is because his nakshatra is this will be the nature. Many a times it is inaccurate. The reason why, see, again I'm telling you, an individual's overall nature is not only signified by one particular house. Yes, the lagna definitely talks about the overall body of the individual. It talks about the likes and dislikes. The lagna talks about, you know, the characteristics, the basic instincts of an individual. But then based on the lagna lord, suppose if the lagna lord of an individual is Sagittarius, that means the planet Jupiter is ruling the ascendant of that particular individual. So based on lagna lord, you find it out in the internet. Okay, ascendants, Sagittarius ascendants nature, you might get a kind of a generalized summary of what the nature will be, but that is inaccurate. In order to understand that, okay, even if you want to understand the nature of an individual based on the lagna, that also a complete and accurate analysis of an individual's horoscope needs to be done. It needs to be seen where the lagna lord of that individual is sitting. All right, it needs to be seen whether what planets are sitting in the first house. It needs to be seen what are the other planets aspecting the first house. All right, there are a lot of factors that needs to be seen, whether a particular yukti, favorable, unfavorable, is forming or not in the first house. There are plenty of factors that I am sure if you have watched all of my previous classes, you will be able to understand. Just by looking at a lagna lot, or by looking at a moon sign, or by looking at a sun sign. All right, sun sign, even though I don't think it is completely accurate, moon sign is still very relevant in Vedic astrology. But looking at these points in silo, you will not be able to come to a conclusion in a generalized way. Because in a lot of newspapers, in a lot of articles, there are weekly horoscopes, weekly predictions. And those are given either on zodiac signs or moon signs. And those are also, I don't think are accurate. Generally, it might be somewhat like you might suddenly feel that, okay, whatever it is said is true. Those are very exceptional days, all right. Generally, it will not give a correct reading, all right, because of the reason I had said. There are a lot of factors that needs to be seen. A particular thing cannot be taken in silo, and a conclusion should not be arrived based on that isolated factor. Okay, so again, coming back to the elements. So all the elements, or every nakshatra has a particular element attached to it. All right, so I will tell you element wise what are the nakshatras. So in earth element, Ashwini nakshatra, Bharani nakshatra, Kritika nakshatra, Rohini nakshatra, and Mriga Shirsha nakshatra are falling. In water element, Ardra nakshatra, Punarvasu nakshatra, Pushya nakshatra, Aslesha nakshatra, Magha nakshatra, and Purva Falguni nakshatra. All of these nakshatras are coming in water element. In fire element, there are Uttara Falguni Nakshatra, Hasta Nakshatra, Chitra Nakshatra, Swati Nakshatra, and Vishaka Nakshatra. All right. In air element, there are Anuradha Nakshatra, Jeshta Nakshatra, Mula Nakshatra, Purvashada Nakshatra, Uttara Ashadha Nakshatra, and Shravana Nakshatra. All of these nakshatras are falling in air element. In space, all right, that is normally we cannot understand it Rashi wise, because all of the 12 Rashis has either of the 4 elements, that is earth, earth or air, or can say fire, earth, air, water. But in space, we cannot understand as per Vedic astrology what are the signs that space has, the element space has. But in nakshatra, we can understand. Dhanishta nakshatra falls in space. Shatabisha nakshatra, Purva Bhadrapada nakshatra, Uttara Bhadrapada nakshatra, and Revati nakshatra. All of these nakshatras are coming under space element. All right. So why it is needed to understand the nakshatras and element? In order to understand the compatibility of elements in an individual's chart. How will I see it? Okay. Suppose the nakshatra of an individual, all right, is a particular nakshatra, that is suppose Anuradha nakshatra, and a particular planet or is falling, or a particular not a planet, leave Anuradha nakshatra of that particular individual, of that individual's birth nakshatra is falling in a particular sign, that is Gemini. All right, so it means there is a compatibility of air and air, because Gemini is also air, and the nakshatra, the birth nakshatra of that particular element of that individual is also air. All right, so here there is a very proper air kind of that individual will be somewhat influenced by the element air. All right, it might, so there might be certain dosh again forming, because there are nakshatra doshas, so that I will be coming in the next topics. All right, so this is how the compatibility, or the compatible elements, non-compatible elements is formed. So suppose a particular individual has is having a moon sign, that is I'm giving you hypothetical examples. All right, again specifically, again whatever way I had explained it to you previously, that needs to be understood. If there is an incompatibility of elements between the moon sign and the nakshatra, then there is certain kind of that disturbance that is seen. Specifically, we can understand it by looking at that individual's horoscope, in which particular sign which particular nakshatra is forming. And if the moon sign and the nakshatra sign both are falling in the same element, that is very much favorable, beneficial for that particular individual. It means that individual will be highly governed by that particular element, whether it is earth, water, fire, air, space. That will depend on that individual's horoscope. All right. So just for a general understanding, because I have to give you knowledge in from all the directions, right? I have to give you 360-degree knowledge. So for general understanding, I want to unveil to you what are the general characteristics of people under elements. All right, but again this will again be depending on the, again I'm telling you, even though I am telling you this is for your general understanding, in order to specifically understand what will be the specific characteristics of an individual, and an in-depth and a thorough analysis of an individual's horoscope needs to be done. Only by listening to this, you will not be able to tell, okay, this is your element, or this is the element that is governing you. That means, you will have this kind of nature. It will be true if you see in that particular horoscope, most of the elements are fire, then whatever I'm telling you under fire, this will be coming true to the, or this will be quite visible in that individual's nature. If that individual's horoscope is mostly governed by water element, then whatever I am telling you that is falling in the water element will be seen visible in that individual's behavior and nature. All right. So that you have to understand what is that element and what elements are mostly governing that individual's horoscope. All right. So air element, if an individual is mostly governed by air element, or the air element is very strong in that individual, such individuals will be quite cheerful, amiable or amicable. They will be gentle in nature. They will be very neat. They will be courteous, and they will be perceptive. Or I'm only talking about the good characteristics. There will be certain bad characteristics also, like certain cons associated with all the elements. I'm just focusing on the pros. All right. Because cons, I don't think, because cons might be created because of some other reasons also, but let's focus only on the pros. Let's look at only on the bright side, understanding about characteristics, the positive traits of elements. If an individual is mostly governed by fire element, all right, based on his or her Lagna chart horoscope, then that individual will be highly energetic, passionate. Will have a lightning personality, all right, dynamic personality. If an individual is governed mostly by the water element, that individual will be emotional, full of love, sociable, love of novelty will be there. They will be fanciful, flexible like water. They will be calm and cool like water too. All right. So again, this will vary even if you see that an individual is mostly governed by the water element, but because of certain things getting formed in the horoscope which are quite strong, then such kind of natural characteristics might be disturbed. All right. So that is the reason why I am telling you a thorough and an in-depth analysis of a horoscope needs to be done in order to, if you want to seriously understand what are the characteristics that an individual is currently going through in his or her life, what are the attitude, what is the nature that is coming out of the individual. And many a times it is seen that an individual in the childhood was of a different behavior. When an individual was growing up, it was of a different behavior. When the individual was completely grown up, post 35, post 40, that individual was of a different behavior. Why is that? If you think that behavior will always be universal, it will always be universal, and in some cases it is. Whatever was the behavior, let's not childhood is a too much early period of talking, right, of referring to. At least when the child was growing up until the till the very much old age of the child, or at least till the adult age of that particular person, you will see the nature of the person remains the same. All right, either if it is bad, or cranky, or if it is good, joyful, very much sociable, it will remain like that. So, and in some cases it is like a kind of a sinusoidal wave. Sometimes it is this, sometimes it is that, sometimes it is this. So why is it happening? It is because that is the reason why I'm telling you there are a lot of planets that are influencing an individual's mind and body and overall well-being, and because of that there are definite fluctuations in an individual's life regarding behavior, regarding nature. And individual changes might be for the better, might be for the worse. That again depends on Lagna chart, again depends on the planetary impact on that individual's life, as per the belief, as per the knowledge of Vedic astrology. So let's come back. In the earth, if an individual is mostly influenced by the earth element, that individual will be seen quite practical, firm, methodical, adaptable, tactful, prudent, cautious. All right, very much grounded personalities. In space, if an individual or the nakshatras that are in that individual's horoscope are quite occupying the element space, all right, so what are the characteristics that are seen from this space element? Infinite thinking, limitless thinking. They will be always, they will have that cosmic energy, that cosmic vibe to it. They might be very much existential in nature. They might always be willing to talk about the cosmic energies, about being limitless towards achieving something, being limitless in his or her mindset and thinking and perception towards life. All right, such kind of characteristics also is seen carrying a very much magnetic personality, a very attractive personality such individual has. Now let's understand for every nakshatras what are their favorable directions. All right, this you can utilize in your Vedic astrology practice. So I'm talking about birth nakshatras. All right, if an individual is having some birth nakshatras mainly, or if in any other way you want to see it, what will be that individual's favorable direction? All right, that is in order to gain something, to achieve something in life. So the south direction are favorable for these nakshatras: Ashwini, Mriga Shirsha, Aslesha, Hasta, Anuradha, Uttara Ashadha, and Shatabisha. All of these nakshatras are governed by south direction. So south direction is favorable for all of these nakshatras. The west direction will be favorable for Bharani nakshatra, Ardra nakshatra, Magha, Chitra, Jeshta, Purva Bhadrapada. All right, so the west direction will be favorable for all of these nakshatras. The north direction will be favorable for Kritika, Punarvasu, Purva Falguni, Swati, Mula, Shravana, Uttara Bhadrapada. So the north direction will be favorable for all of these nakshatras. The east direction will be favorable for Rohini nakshatra, Pushya nakshatra, Uttara Falguni nakshatra, Vishaka, Purvashada, Dhanishta, and Revati. So the east direction will be favorable for all of these nakshatras. Now let's understand about nakshatras and what are the varnas of the nakshatras. All right, so I hope you know about varna. There are basically 4 varnas. All right, Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras. These are the 4 nakshatras. So Brahmin is all about knowledge. When I talk about Brahmin varna, such people whose birth nakshatra is a Brahmin nakshatra, they are seen to be quite knowledgeable. All right, if a particular individual's birth nakshatra is a Kshatriya nakshatra, then such people, they are warriors, they are administrative, they are very good at administrative work, or they have administrative qualities, they are very good in defense because they are warrior in nature. It is seen like with people who have their birth nakshatras coming in or falling under Kshatriya varnas. Vaishyas, or the nakshatra that are falling in the Vaishyas varna, or I'll come to the nakshatras later. The Vaishyas varna are known to be very good in business. So they are business people, money, accounts, right? They are very good in all these aspects. And Shudras varnas are very much laborious by nature. They are hard-working people. They are physical. They are they believe in doing hard work and earning. All right. So this is the way you can say about Shudras. So these are very general way of understanding it. So again, I'm saying you, just because, for example, a person has Kshatriya birth nakshatra, it doesn't necessarily mean that the person will have warrior kind of an attitude. This is a general understanding. Tendency will be, yes, it might be there, but it might also not be there. That is the reason why a complete analysis or a complete understanding of an individual's birth chart is required, the Lagna chart. Because it is, again, I'm repeating the same thing, only taking one factor in isolation and coming up with a specific understanding of an individual is not completely correct. These are all general understandings. All right, general means there will be a tendency, specific means more or less this particular thing, the probability will be very high of such things happen. So again, as there are 9 planets influencing an individual's life on an everyday basis. Why there are 9 planets? Because see, you might think, okay, only 2 planets are influencing, what is only Mahadasha, Antardasha. But you have to understand on a day-to-day basis, I'm saying, not on a particular day, but at least for a good, at least for a time span, you will see all the 9 planets have influenced. See, this is not just 2 planets. 2 planets might play the vital role, that is the planet whose Mahadasha is going on and the planet whose Antardasha is going on. These 2 planets is influencing the individual in the most way. All right, this is the portion that is highly influenced or highly getting influenced. That is the portion occupied by these 2 planets, the Mahadasha planet and the Antardasha planet. But you have to understand there are 3 more dashas going on. That is the Pratyantar Dasha, Sukshma Dasha and Pran Dasha. Even though these 3 dashas are very small in nature, the impact of these 3 dashas might not be that much in an individual's life, but still the impact will be there. All right. So that is the reason why I'm saying it is the 9 planets some way or the other is always influencing an individual's life, because in a Lagna chart there are 9 planets. It's not like when 2 planets Mahadasha Antardasha is going on, the 7 planets are erased from the individual's Lagna chart. It never happens like that. All the 9 planets, they play a role in an individual's life. All right, this thing you have to understand, and because of this you cannot take certain factors in isolation, in silo, and come to a conclusion based on those factors. Whether it is birth nakshatra, whether it is moon sign, whether it is ascendant lord, right? For example, I'm telling you. So that is the reason why I said that just because a person who is born with a Kshatriya birth nakshatra, it doesn't necessarily mean he or she will be good in warrior or good in areas where aggression is required in a positive way. That will depend on how the other planets, all the 9 planets, are influencing that individual's life. So I have given you a kind of a understanding about the varnas. All right, what each varna represent, at least professionally. So what are the nakshatras falling in each varna? Let's understand that. For Brahmin varna, the nakshatras are Kritika nakshatra, Purva Falguni, Purva Shada and Purva Bhadrapada. For Kshatriya varna, the nakshatras are Pushya, Uttara Falguni, Uttara Ashadha, Dhanishta and Uttara Bhadrapada. For Vaishya Varna, the nakshatras are Ashwini, Punarvasu and Hasta. For Shudra Varna, the nakshatras are Rohini, Magha, Anuradha, Revati, Mrigashirsha, Chitra, Jyeshtha, Adra, Swati, Mula, Shatabisha, Bharani, Aslesha, Vishaka and Shravana. So these are the nakshatras, and what are the nakshatras for which particular varna, that also I hope you will be able to understand from this particular topic. All right. Now let's understand about the nakshatra and the nakshatra doshas. Again, this comes under the topic of medical astrology. I could not include this in my medical astrology class that I had taken previously in one of the videos. The reason being, I did not touch upon the topic of nakshatras. So talking about the nakshatra doshas in medical astrology in that particular class could not be done. So now I want to include that nakshatra doshas because it comes in that particular topic category of medical astrology. All right. So there are three doshas. One is air quality dosha, fire quality, water quality. So air quality is known as vata, fire quality is pitta, and water quality is kapha. Okay. One is vata, then is pitta, then is kapha. All right, or kapha, whatever way however you want to pronounce it. So what are the nakshatras that are falling in the air? Nakshatras, these are known as nakshatra doshas. All right. So what are the nakshatras falling in vata? Ashwini, Ardra, Punarvasu, Uttara Falguni, Hasta, Jeshta, Mula, Shatabisha, and Purva Bhadrapada. What are the nakshatras falling in Pitta? Bharani, Mrigashirsha, Pushya, Purva Falguni, Chitra, Anuradha, Purva Ashadha, Dhanishta, and Uttara Bhadrapada. And what are the nakshatras that are falling in Kapha? One is Kritika, then Rohini, then Aslesha, then Magha, then Swati, then Vishaka, then Uttara Ashadha, then Shravana, then Revati. All right. It means, now what it means? It means, see, there are three doshas, vata, pitta, kapha. If an individual has too much air quality or too much air in them, too much air element in their body, that will lead to vata dosha. If an individual has too much water element in them, that will lead to kapha dosha. All right. And if an individual has too much fire element in them, that might lead to pitta. All right. Pitta dosh I'm talking about. I'm talking about imbalances. When there is too much of something, that will create an imbalance. So all of these nakshatras that are falling under vata dosha, there will be a tendency, all right, tendency, I'm talking to you in a generalized way, that all of these nakshatras that are falling under vata doshas, people who are born with such nakshatras, they might have doshas related to air, vata. If an individual is born with a particular nakshatra that is falling in pitta, then there might be a tendency that that individual might develop issues related to pitta dosh. And if an individual is born with a nakshatra which falls under kapha, then there will be a tendency that an individual will develop kapha dosh. All right. So now we have to understand how one more topic of nakshatra that I want to also cover. So this will complete my class about nakshatra. So whatever specific information I had to give you about nakshatras, that will be complete once this particular subject or once this particular topic is now discussed. Aim of nakshatras. What do you mean by aim of nakshatras? It means when a particular person is born with a particular nakshatra, means the birth nakshatra where the moon is placed. All right, in that particular individual's lagna chart, what will be the aim of that individual's life? How will that individual see his or her life? Again, I'm telling you, these are all general understanding. I'm telling it to you so that you will know, it will be there in your knowledge, and knowledge is always useful. and there are 4 aims. These are known as Purusharthas, all right? The Purusharthas of Nakshatras, and I'm using the word aim of Nakshatra in order to translate what I'm trying to mean. So there are 4 aims in life. One is Dharma, Artha is the second, third is Kama, and fourth is Moksha. It goes like this. First is Dharma, then will be Artha, then there will be Kama number 3, and then there will be Moksha. That is, what is Dharma? Dharma is all about virtues, all right? Artha is all about wealth and creation. Kama is all about love and passion. Moksha is all about liberation. Now, okay, let me just complete it. Then I want to tell you a very important thing so that you don't have a misconception also, all right? You know how to utilize this. It will be there in your knowledge. But you should not develop any misconception with this particular topic, all right? So what are the nakshatras that are falling under Dharma? Ashwini Nakshatra, Pushya Nakshatra, Aslesha Nakshatra, Vishaka Nakshatra, Anuradha Nakshatra, Dhanishta Nakshatra, and Shatabisha Nakshatra. What are the nakshatras falling under Artha? It is Bharani Nakshatra, Punarvasu Nakshatra, Magha Nakshatra, Swati Nakshatra, Jeshta Nakshatra, Shravana Nakshatra, Purva Bhadrapada Nakshatra. What are the nakshatras that are falling in Kama? Kritika Nakshatra, Ardra Nakshatra, Purva Falgani Nakshatra, Chitra Nakshatra, Mula Nakshatra, Uttara Bhadrapada Nakshatra. And what are the nakshatras falling in Moksha? One is Rohini Nakshatra, Mriga Shirsha Nakshatra, Uttara Falgani Nakshatra, Hasta Nakshatra, Purvashada Nakshatra, and Uttara Ashada Nakshatra, and Revati Nakshatra. So what are the nakshatras falling under each Purusharthas or each aim? I have discussed it. Now let me tell you what I wanted to tell you. Now if an individual is born, suppose with a nakshatra which is pointing towards Dharma, suppose an individual is born with a Shatabisha Nakshatra. So does that mean that individual will not experience wealth? Does that mean that individual will not experience love and passion? Does that mean that individual with this Dharma birth Nakshatra will not experience liberation? No, right? I don't mean that. What it means is, if an individual is born with a particular birth nakshatra that is pointing towards a specific Purushartha or aim of nakshatra, then that individual is encouraged to live a life where they focus on all of these things particularly, all right? But it doesn't mean the other things that individual should not focus in. What is life if you don't have wealth? Wealth is important because nowadays, to achieve everything, to experience everything, I'm talking about if you want to buy food, if you want to buy clothes for yourself, if you want to, have a family life, whatever, if you want to, have any such kind of materialistic desires, then you need wealth, right? You need money. And whatever you do professionally, you always ask for a particular price that the individual needs to pay, whether if you're working for a company, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you are a serviceman, whether you are into any other kind of things, whether it's sports, etc., singer, artist, everything, there is a income associated with it. So everything has wealth and creation. So in today's life, earlier, Vedic astrology is very ancient. Earlier, it was so. An individual who was born with a particular birth nakshatra, which was focusing on, suppose, dharma, then an individual only used to be dharmic in nature. But nowadays, in today's life, you cannot, live a life without wealth and creation. You have to be creative in nature. So now everything is interlinked. I am telling you because Vedic astrology is a very ancient learning, but then you have to apply the learning in today's practical world. Then only in a practical sense, in a real sense, in a useful sense, you will be able to utilize this particular knowledge, all right, in the proper way. As per today's age, you will be able to utilize it. Again, what is life without love and romance, right? If you want to have a family, even if you want to be happy, everybody asks and desires for love and romance. I'm talking in a meaningful way, in a positive way, in an optimistic way, right? So love and romance is love and passion is also a part of life. Your fifth house indicates your love and romance, all right? So, and everybody has all the freedom to strive towards moksha, that is liberation, all right? So all of these four things an individual should be a part of. Is just that as per Vedic astrology, their birth nakshatra is pointing towards a certain purushurtha, or you can pointing towards a certain aim of that as per nakshatras, all right? But then you have to utilize the learning in a practical way, in a wise way, in a way that makes sense in the real world, so that at the end of the day, whenever you are utilizing the knowledge, whatever you are gathering, whatever you are learning from my classes, you are utilizing it to improve and transform the person's life for the better. Okay, so this is what I wanted to discuss. Few more things, misconceptions I want to again erase. According whatever I am saying, again it is according to my knowledge, according to my learning, all right, according to my wise understanding. Again, keeping in, because whatever I'm saying right now is for Vedic astrology, definitely, all right. A lot of people believe that, as I have said previously, whenever you are looking at a particular Lagna chart, you have to understand the placement of planets, and you have to understand which planets are Yoga Karka, which planets are Maraka. That is the basic, the first thing that you have to understand, and that particular understanding you can only achieve when you look at that Lagna chart, and that too in detail. Now, many people feel that the placement of planets in nakshatras also will matter. Means you are looking at a particular planet placed in a sign. I was using this particular knowledge in my previous classes. Nowhere I have mentioned about the placement of planets in a particular nakshatra, and then you are understanding whether that particular planet is a Yoga Karaka or Maraka. This is not required, all right. From the Lagna chart only you will be able to understand, if you now have understood the complete science, the complete knowledge of how to find out which particular planet is Yoga Karaka and which particular planet is Maraka. Just because if a planet is sitting in a particular nakshatra will not make that planet, or will not convert that planet from Yoga Karaka to Maraka, and it will not convert that planet from Maraka to Yoga Karaka, because if it is placed in a particular nakshatra. If a particular planet is placed in its enemy nakshatra, that is a nakshatra that is ruled by an incompatible planet, it doesn't make, suppose if the planet, if that particular planet, suppose if a planet, suppose example Mercury is placed in a particular Lagna chart, and that Mercury is Yoga Karaka, just because Mercury is placed in its incompatible nakshatra, or a nakshatra which is ruled by an incompatible planet, ruled by its enemy sign, it will not make that Yoga Karaka Mercury Maraka. The nature of Mercury might change. The Mercury might act in a particular way, but if that Mercury is Yoga Karaka in your chart, it will remain Yoga Karaka. That particular status, that particular strength of Mercury will not change based on which particular nakshatra it is sitting, all right. Nakshatras only needs to be analyzed whenever you want to look at what are the 9 planets in a particular Lagna chart and in which nakshatras they are sitting. that is understood in order to understand the nature of the planets. And if you want to understand that, you also have to understand the padas. There are four pada: one, pada 2, pada 3, pada 4. Just because a particular nakshatra is sitting in a particular planet is sitting in a particular nakshatra, then you're doing your Google search. Okay, now suppose Jupiter is placed in this particular nakshatra. What will Jupiter be? That will be an incorrect way of understanding about Jupiter. If you see, whatever I had discussed is absolutely sufficient to make you understand in a particular house what will be the Maraka planets, what will be the Yoga Karka planets. All right, I have explained to you the process in complete details and with 100% accuracy. If you want to understand a nakshatra's point of view also, planets' placement wise, then you also have to understand and learn about padas. All right, so the thing, I don't want to teach you this because it is not necessary. Whatever I have taught you about nakshatra in today's particular class is sufficient to give you an understanding about nakshatra, because the more you will understand, the more confused you will get. Then the more confused you will get, you yourself will not be able to properly analyze an individual's horoscope. Again, I'm telling you, the nakshatra's perspective point of view is only taken in order to understand the nature of planets. All right, but that will not change the planets from Yoga Karka to Maraka or Maraka to Yoga Karka. Based on nakshatras, dosh will also not get cancelled. If dosh happens, it will happen. Based on nakshatras, if a Raj Yoga is happened, that will also not get cancelled. So nakshatra should not be misunderstood. The utilization of nakshatra should be understood. Why is it used? Also, nakshatras are basically used in order to understand. In earlier days, it was used to understood if a particular person is born with a Gand Mool nakshatra or not. Then also we had to understand what is the birth nakshatra of that individual. But that also I don't feel it is quite relevant. All right. Okay, it might be relevant to certain extent, but again, it depends on an individual's belief. In this particular aspect, nakshatra is used. Nakshatra is used in order to calculate certain events in life. All right, certain auspicious events in life. Then to understand and calculate the dates, there will be overlapping of nakshatras of certain planets that are having its transits. For that, the nakshatras of that particular planet, for that padas also has to be understood. And that is a separate subject and topic altogether. That is only used. So nakshatras here plays the most importance in order to calculate dates, events. That is, but that again, it was relevant in ancient life. Nowadays also people believe it. But tell me one thing, if you come to me and ask me, please tell me in which particular day I will get the interview call, do you think that particular question is relevant? Yes, using the concept of nakshatra, a favorable day can be found out. But why do you want to know everything from before? Some people, they ask that, okay, which particular day I will get a promotion, which particular month I will get a promotion. That is not correct. Whether there will be certain problems in you getting a promotion or not, that is the more specific question. In which particular day, in which particular hour will I be getting the phone call? These are all irrelevant questions. If you want to give your dependency to others, then how you will remain independent in life? This is not a healthy creation. All right, always remember, because I am an advocate of mental health, it is very important to operate from the empowerment dynamic matrix. You cannot operate from the disempowerment dynamic matrix. Means you are giving all the decisions of your life to somebody else. You're letting somebody else decide all the events for your life, whether you going out to some place, whether you taking a vacation, whether you meeting someone, whether you conducting a meeting in your office, everything, for every small details you want to ask, right? So I don't think this is practical, this is wise, and overall for your mental health also it's not nice. For very important events in your life, that I can understand, all right, but for every small matters, if you want a particular practitioner of Vedic astrology to calculate the dates, I don't think that is quite useful, according to me, according to my belief. All right. And again, for calculation of dates, then only nakshatras plays a huge importance, because auspiciousness, because every nakshatra carries an auspicious nature. All right. Then for that, if you want to plan a particular huge event for a particular day, whether that day falls under an auspicious nakshatra or not, what will be the time, what will be the muhurta. So the muhurta calculation, everything is done based on nakshatra, but that is a very, very, very lengthy process, and there are definite chances that if an individual is not absolutely accurate with those calculations of date, times, overlapping, intersection of nakshatras, that also pada-wise and everything has to be detailed out, then the date calculation might be, chances are that might be inaccurate. In very ancient times, when there were rajas, there were emperors, they used to seek guidance from Raj Jyotishis, all right. The very, very, auspicious, extremely spiritual Jyotishis, they used to be excellent in calculating this muhurtas, all right, because at that time those things were of utmost importance. A particular day and time in which a particular raja, a king, and an emperor will take a certain action related to their kingdom, all right. That happened in very, very ancient times. But in today, what is the necessity of calculating muhurta? What is the necessity of you to know and understand dates? It is not required. Be independent mind wise. Your mind should be free. Your mind should not be completely exhausted because every now and then you are asking somebody else for advice, all right. So then your mental health, chances are that your mental health might take a negative toss, and it is only you who is encouraging such kind of dependency, all right. Nobody is telling you to be dependent. You yourself, out of curiosity, want to ask everything from beforehand. That is not required, all right. So that is again coming back to the concept and topic of nakshatras. In those aspects, nakshatras used to be used, or nowadays it's used again, especially for calculating those very, very auspicious events in your life. So that is what I wanted to discuss about the topic of nakshatras, and I have explained to you whatever I wanted you to understand and take a note of, so that your understanding about nakshatras will also be there along with all of the other classes that I had already taken, all right. And please watch all of my classes. Don't even miss a single class. If you miss a single class, you are missing out on an entire topic. And on every class, I have taken a separate topic. None of the topics are redundant. None of the topics are repeated. Whatever topics I have taken, whatever classes actually I have taken, conducted, shared, uploaded, posted in this YouTube channel, all are specific and all are unique in nature, because all of the classes, topics, discussions are completely unique. But yes, they are interrelated, because the entire world of Vedic astrology, the subjects, the topics of Vedic astrology is interrelated. In order to know one particular topic, you have to know the previous topics first. Then only you will be able to understand one particular topic. And only if you have completely understood the topics, then only you will be able to understand, the upcoming topics. For example, if you have understood class 1, then you will be able to understand class 2. If you have understood class 1 and 2, then you will be able to understand class 3. If you have understood class 1, 2, 3, then you will be able to understand class 4. If you have understood class 1, 2, 3, 4, then you will be able to understand class 5. All right. So in order to understand, learn a particular class in this particular YouTube channel, whatever I have posted, you have to understand, learn, practice, be thorough and sound with the previous classes first, and then you proceed to the next class. Then your learning, then your understanding, then the time that you take to grab whatever I am saying will be very, very perfect, will be proper, and will be accurate. All right. So I believe I have shared whatever I wanted to share in today's class. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. like my videos, share my videos, and if you have any doubts, any queries, any questions related to the topics of Vedic astrology, then please share them in the comment section. All right. Take care and be happy, stay safe, be healthy, be optimistic, be productive, uh, be self-empowered. All right. And always lead and live your life in a meaningful, in a purposeful way. Okay. My name is Aniket, and okay, bye bye, take care.